Barclay Prison is on the outskirts of London, backing onto a lowly burial ground. Its 4 high outer walls loomed quietly before us in the fog. Having requested a meeting, we were shown to the governor's office in the watchtower. Oh, I am super not. Why are all the offices in this place weird? Is there no such thing as just a normal office? Oh God, you're big. This place is full of hardened criminals. I can remember the last time a civilian was done here. And you didn't want to talk it in, mate. But to me? God, you are such a big man! Do you kid know who I am? I'm the governor! Very kind. Oh, yes, it is a pleasure. I'm Rita Skin Outhood, defense lawyer. At Ace, I see. Does that mean... Yes, I'm a visiting student of law from the Empire of Japan. Japan! Did you say Japan? Yes? Well, there's no any of your kind here, laddie. Maybe you should go to the prison next door, eh? I didn't notice another prison next door, sir. Anyway, we came to ask you some questions about... I didn't like to be so direct, but... I no intention of speaking with the likes of you suspicious-looking Easterners. At least we're consistent with the racism around here. He just leaves. Now get out of me hair. So as soon as he finds out that we're from Japan, he reacts like this. That surely means... I think it's because of the professor case. You think so too? 10 years ago, Genshin Asagi, also known as the Professor, was incarcerated at this prison. And then, after his execution, he apparently re-emerged from his grave in the cemetery behind the prison. I might have known. You're sniffing around about that case, aren't you? Your agents, eh? Part of the Professor's great web, no doubt. No, not at all. We're just... Get on with you before I punch your lights out. We're going! Clearly the ghost of that killer still haunts this place. We're not going to get anywhere here. Unless we can somehow prove to this man that there's nothing suspicious about us. Governor Caden? What do you think of Mrs. Otto? I feel sure that name has come up in conversation recently somewhere. I was wondering if whoever mentioned him might have had some ideas to help us. Come to think of it, I have the same feeling. Oh, I have an idea. Hold on. Let's go to... Great Waterloo Hotel. Hello? That's Professor Mikotoba over there. Ah, hello you two. I was just taking a moment to catch up on the world, now that I'm unpacked. But where is Judge Jigoku? Yes, he's not the relaxing sort. He's taken himself off to pay his respects to all the legal bigwigs. Having only just arrived in the country today? Goodness, he is full of energy. Professor, you mentioned something before about how you know the prison governor at Barclay Prison? Oh, Governor Caden, you mean? So it is the same man. Father, we must speak with the governor. But he refused to talk to us. He said we were suspicious Easterners. Well, I'm sure if I accompanied you, it would be a very different story. Oh, would you? That would be wonderful, if you have time now. Sadly, as you can see, I'm very busy at the moment. Busy drinking coffee on a comfortable settee. Settee? Edgar Griffin, how do you pronounce that?
Settee.
Okay, thank you. Now, I have a rather lot to prepare for tomorrow, you know. Oh, sorry. I didn't say that out loud, did I? You Mikotobas are alarmingly good at reading people's thoughts. Or could it be that you Naruhodos are alarmingly bad at hiding your thoughts? Well, I don't have a rebuttal for that. That's just get destroyed. Let's not fall out now. I have an idea. What's he writing on that piece of paper? Here's a letter of introduction for you. Hopefully, when he sees my name, he'll change his tune. Ah, thank you. Letter of introduction has been entered into the court record. A noted introduction on our behalf from Professor Mikotoba to Governor Kaden. Hopefully now he'll be willing to talk to us. Good luck, then. Alright, well, before we do that, let's see if we can examine this at all. Ah! Oh, it looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Bruce, first class cabin 001. Yokohama departure 11 September, London arrival 1st November. Ah, that's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Yes, I think it's called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover. To think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Buria. It seems a shame not to keep your tickets a memento of the trip, don't you think? Yes, I agree. I have mine safely in my diary. And I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Oh, well, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Naruhodo? Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Alright, so now the details have updated. That's disturbing. Anyway, let's go ahead and get back to the prison office. Hello, good sir. Thank you for allowing us to at least step into your office. Present! If you just cast your eyes over this, Governor Kaden. What's this then? You can't even put over the wool in my eyes, you good-for-nothing Japanese student! Should I be doing like a lower voice for him? Mikotoba. That young chuck from the forensic laboratory? That Mikotoba? Yes, exactly, him! Oh dear, perhaps I should have said something sooner. I'm Eugene Mikotoba's daughter, Suzato. Jinx! You're the old man's daughter? And you didn't think to mention this before? I do apologize. Aye, well, you'd best take a seat then. Can I offer you a cup of tea, perhaps? And didn't forget to try one of these with handcuffed biscuits. Your father's influence is nothing short of amazing. I'm bitterly regretting not announcing who I was from the outset now. So then, what can I do for you, Anne? Well, we were currently investigating a case. It's one of your warders, you see. He's gone missing. Missing? That's right. It's surely been reported to you as well, being the prison governor. I haven't heard nothing of the sort. There's no missing persons in my prison. Oh! But how can that be? It's Mr. Dolly Vigil, your chief warder. Eh? Vigil? That's right. His wife came to us and asked us to investigate his disappearance. Let's skip the part about him only going missing yesterday for now. Clearly that means something to him. Would you be so kind as to tell us what you know, sir? Aye, of course. Alright, let's talk to the man. Chief Warder Vigil. We understand that Mr. Vigil is the chief warder here at the prison. Aye, that he was. Strong sense of responsibility and dedicated to the job, no doubt about it. He was a fine warder. Sorry, did you say was? Aye, he does what no more. He left the job. Oh my! When was this exactly? There's a question. When was it about? I could have been much less than 10 years ago now? What? What? 10 years ago? You stopped working here 10 years ago? Aye, as I mind it. You can have it. God, this guy's hard to read. Literally. I haven't heard the fella's name in all that time. That's a word if he's gone missing, though. But Mrs. Vigil made no mention of it. I think perhaps, Mr. Naruhodo, that his wife simply doesn't know. I think she's unaware that he no longer works here. Governor Caden, can you tell us what happened? Why did Mr. Vigil give up his job here? That's important, is it? Yes, I believe it may be. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't help wondering, given that it was 10 years ago. Which was exactly when the professor was being held at this prison. We must talk about 10 years ago. So Mr. Vigil actually resigned from the position of Chief Warden 10 years ago, you're telling us? Warder. What happened to make him leave the job? In actual fact, he didn't leave the job willingly. He had no choice in the matter. You mean he was dismissed? It was after a particular walk. Sorry? A walk? Aye, that whole word for it from here. A walk to the gallows. An execution. It's the job of the chief warder to prepare the gallows tree and oversee any executions, you see. Only Vigil did something unthinkable on that last walk he was manning. What did he do? I'm sorry, but I cannot reveal the information. But I can tell you it's very rare for a chief warder to be relieved of his post. But why wouldn't Mrs. Vigil know about it? She appears to be under the impression that her husband still works here. I wouldn't care anything about that, I'm afraid. Can you perhaps answer one more question about the circumstances of his dismissal? And what would that be, Ed? That last execution that Mr. Vigil was responsible for overseeing, was it by any chance the professor's? My thoughts exactly. I'm sorry, I really am, but I'm not at liberty to answer that. Okay, dude, the fact that you're not at liberty to answer that only basically confirms that it's the professor. Because why else would you not be at liberty to answer that? I see. Anyway, my father came to Britain all those years ago in order to study forensic medicine. But you seem to have been well acquainted. The dead room, the prison, and the cemetery have a lot to do with one another. After all, they need fresh corpses for forensic research. Didn't you, Ken? Yes, I can imagine. The advancement of medical science isn't always particularly palatable. Your father worked in a laboratory just on the far side of the graveyard. In the basement of St. Sinus. Or Sinners, probably. It's still in use today. St. Sinus. That's come up before, I'm sure. Yes, that's right. We've been there. Mikotoba and I have to ride in a carriage to get negotiate terms. For more fresh material, I suppose. Aye, and we used to sit in here for hours and gather on about dissecting all sorts. Ugh, takes me back. Or a pot of tea and a plate of cuff biscuits, of course. How charming. He was a good fella, your father. Reliable and dead set on his work. But I'm afraid I'll never understand you Japanese. Because of Genshin Asogi, I suppose. Well, I can't tell you anything else. Thank you so much for your time, Governor. Oh, one moment for you away then. I'm sure I have it here somewhere. Ah, found it. Here, take this as a wee souvenir of your visit to the prison. What is it? That's Vigil's dismissal notice. It's 10 years old now, of course. Oh my! Are you sure? Aye, it's no trouble at all. It's not the original, mind. Vigil's dismissal notice has been entered into the court record. The harsh reprimand incurred by Mr. Vigil 10 years ago that resulted in him losing his job as chief warder of Barclay Prison. Thank you very much, Governor Caden. Well, in return, do me a favor and never come back here. That case is closed. Well, I think we ought to return to Baker Street for the time being. Yes, I agree. We need to report back to Mr. Sholmes with what we found out about Mr. Vigil. What will he tell Mrs. Vigil, I wonder? Okay, I want to just examine the dismissal notice here. Chief Warder Dolly Virgil is relieved of his post in immediate effect for having violated Clause 132 of her... All rights to redundancy, pay for the financial benefits are fully revoked. Reason for dismissal: aiding and abetting the escape of this prisoner of combat just prior to his execution. Details of this escape are still being investigated. Full cooperation with inquiries will be expected. Additional notes: indications are that the jailbreak plot was conceived prior to the convict's incarceration. It is believed that the convict engaged in some form of negotiation with prison staff in order to secure assistance. Full disclosure of information regarding these negotiations will be demanded. So he actively helped him escape. Interesting. We're back! Hello, you two! I thought you'd be back before long, so I baked some scones for us all. Ah, so that's what the delicious smell... Oh, God! Why is it blue now? Greetings, my dear fellows! You've returned a good deal sooner than I was anticipating. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Say nothing. Your thoughts are written all over your faces in any case. It turns out that it may have been advisable to test my hair color restoration tonic before application. Oh my. Pray, tell me, what of our warder friend? Have you garnered some new information? I feel like the developers of this game just played around with like the RGB settings of his hair. And they just like, why don't we just make this into an actual like subplot for one of the cases, and no one argued with it. Oh, yes, something very surprising in fact. Though it's not a patch on your hair, to be honest. It most certainly isn't, but still, we discovered that Sholmes! Oh, it's you. Drop everything, Sholmes! This is more important! You literally do not know that. China? I can't, I don't eat it. What's happened? Clearly a very grave matter indeed. For Miss Lestrade made no mention of my hair whatsoever. Okay, you know what? Fair enough. But still, shut up. It's the boss. Oh no. What do you mean? Inspector Gregson? The boss is... He's dead. What? Oh no. What? They just found his body shot with a pistol. What? But Inspector Gregson? He was murdered? No, not crazy. Come in, my dear girl. Tell us the whole story. Oh, no. Are you serious, Sheena? Inspector Gregson he was really shot? I don't know much about what happened myself yet. They're still there, investigating the scene. Where did this take place? A little rented room in a building full of flats on Fresno Street. The outskirts of town, nowhere near his home. He was perhaps investigating a case then. The thing is, no one at the yard knows nothing about no case around there. Oh, how strange. The boss he was so good to me. He knew I ain't up to much yet, but one day I was gonna show him. I'd become a proper detective. Oh, Ginny. Oh, no. So, who did this? Do you have any idea who the culprit is? They got him already. Already? They've caught the shooter so soon? A witness reported something was going on, and the boys got straight down there and took care of him. Who? What awful person did this? I still can't believe it myself. Gina? It was the Reaper. What? How's that possible? They caught the Reaper? Wait a minute! You don't mean they arrested Lord Van Zieks for it? Oh, actual Lord Van Zieks. That's right! That Reaper bloke's gone and shot the boss! No! Lord Van Zieks? What? Are you quite sure, Mr. Straight? It's Barrick Van Zieks the police have arrested? I saw with my own eyes! In the interview room in the yard! I don't believe it! But there were witnesses! And they're all saying it was him! So you mean there were actually multiple witnesses? They've heard the gunshot, apparently. And when our lot got to the scene, there was only the boss and that Reaper bloke in the room. But there's no way Lord Van Zieks would have taken Gregson's life. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it either. Thank you for informing us, Miss Lestrade. This really is most terrible news. I'm dreadfully sorry. What are you saying sorry for? You didn't do nothing! Well, anyway, I'm taking account of the scene right now. Please come and all, as soon as you can, you gotta help! No! It's a detective's lot to appear whenever some sinister plot has unfolded. Little wonder we all look haggard. Sometimes these things are almost too much for the nerves. Mr. Sholmes. What use is there being a great detective if I fail to see something like this coming? How could I let this happen to Gregson? To Gregson. I think I actually have tears forming in my eyes. I'm very upset right now. Mr. Naruhodo, I shall leave at once to begin my investigations. Of course, yes, we will too. It would be helpful if you could talk to Mr. Reaper and see what you can glean. I'm sure you were intending to do so anyway. Until later then. Inspector Gregson dead, and Lord Van Zieks arrested. Bruno, Susie! I've called you a handsome. It's waiting outside. Thanks, Harris. Shall we, Mrs. Otto? Yes. Yeah, we're out of here. Forget the Fresno Street room. I want to go to the prison. We need to talk to Lord Van Zieks first, I feel. What's gonna happen? God bless this game. There he is, Lord Van Zieks behind bars. So it's true. He really was arrested. He's sitting with his back to the wall, reading something. I don't think he's noticed us. Lord Van Zieks! Fancy meeting you here. The last place on Earth I'd like to be, with the last person on Earth I'd like to see. Well, good day to you too. I couldn't very well not come. We heard what happened. That Inspector Gregson was... Go home. This has nothing to do with you. That, okay? If you don't like me, fine. But I liked Gregson, and I need to figure out what's going on. But... Forgive me, Lord Van Zieks, but I must disagree. Inspector Gregson was very helpful to us on a number of occasions. We're indebted to him. At the very least, we owe it to him to find out the truth about his death. You must help us in our investigations, please! There's really nothing I can tell you. What were you just reading at the back of the cell there? Was it something related to the case? This? The art isn't quite so cavalier with its information as the sheer case details of the suspect. This is a letter from an old acquaintance. Oh? Who might that be? Someone you know, as it happens. Albert Harebrain. Of course, yes. I keep forgetting they went to the same university. And I would like to read my correspondence in peace. So let's get this over with, shall we? What is it you want to know? Strange. I mean, let's face it, Lord Van Zieks never minces his words. But they seem to have less bite than usual somehow. I like that phrase. Doesn't like to mince his words. Good language. So, what happened? Can you at least tell us your side of the story, Lord Van Zieks? What happened? How much do you already know? We know that the inspector was shot dead in a small rented room on Fresno Street, and that you were found there by the police when they arrived on the scene and immediately arrested. We were told that there was nobody else in the room and that some witnesses heard the gunshot. Then you're well informed. And there's really nothing I can add. The truth is, I don't know what happened myself. But the gunshot! Obviously you didn't fire the gun, did you? I'm not in the habit of shooting the people I work alongside. I also heard the noise. However, before I had a chance to investigate, I was apprehended by the arriving officers. So he doesn't actually know what happened. If I might ask, what were you doing in that place to begin with? I don't need to answer that. Oh! After all, you're not representing me. He is going to need a lawyer, though. So what about your defense? Who is going to be representing you in court, Lord Van Zieks? Anyone other than you, I should imagine. God! Dude, come on! Do you still not trust me? Ha! You trusted me with your best friend, and you won't trust me with yourself? Would I be right in assuming that you have no representation as yet? Defense lawyers shy away from any trial involving the Reaper, as I'm sure you know. But this is different. In my career, of all the defendants I've prosecuted, only 19 have ever been acquitted. Of them, 16 subsequently died in mysterious circumstances. Questions will be asked now. Surely not! I assure you, no defense lawyer will want to touch me with the end of a barge pole. But you didn't actually have anything to do with those people's deaths, did you? It's been 10 years now that I've been known as the Reaper of the Bailey. Believe me, nobody wants to know the true identity of this killer more than I. However, it seems things may come to a head before I have the chance to uncover the truth about that. What does he mean by that? Alright, Professor Harebrain's letter. After the trial, Professor Harebrain was supposed to go straight back to Germany, I thought. It's a letter to inform me of his safe arrival at home. I arranged his passage by sea and rail. It's a relief, I must say. He should now be beyond the reaches of the Reaper. Because the Reaper doesn't follow people abroad, you mean? Yes, so it seems. Your stupid little Nipponese friend, for example. You told me he was keeping well in Japan when I inquired the other day. Yes, that's right. He's an author now, happily working in Tokyo. So Professor Harebrain is safely back in Germany now. He is. So, it appears our conversation has run dry. There was a 2-second silence, that's all. Well, in any event, if you'll excuse me now, I wouldn't like to detain you. Get it? 'Cause he's detained? I was wondering, Lord Van Zieks, if you'd like, I'd be happy to advocate for you. You trust me, do you? Yes. I heard you speak many times in court. I've seen how you treat people. So I'm quite sure that you would never have taken another's life. It's just, my feelings can't be used as evidence in a court of law, sadly. It's a very gracious offer. However, I trust no one. What? Not the police, not the judiciary, and not you Nipponese. But, please. I have no intention of engaging your services. The chasm between us is just too wide and too deep, it seems. I'd appreciate it if you don't visit again. Then neither of us will waste any more time. Perhaps we need to dig a little deeper and find out more about Lord Van Zieks and what happened to Inspector Gregson. I was not ready for this. I was not. Such an emotional roller coaster, this case. And we're not even done with part 1 of this. Oh my god. This really is an out-of-the-way part of London. I doubt many people find their way down this back street. So this dust-ridden rented old room is where it happened then. It's the room where it happened. The room where it happened. The room where it happened. So this is where poor Inspector Gregson lost his life. Yes. And the police are already hard at work investigating, it seems. I don't see Mr. Sholmes anywhere, though. Perhaps his investigations have taken him elsewhere. Oi! What do you think you're doing there? Every one of them drawers have got to be taken right out so you can look underneath it all. I want the space above this ceiling checked, and don't forget to look inside the chimney stack too. Blimey! Ain't you lot never gone over a house looking for dough when the owners are out of town? Gina's obviously got some unique investigative techniques she wants everyone to adopt. Oh, so you turned up at last. Mind you, I ain't been here long myself. Hello again, Gina. Sholmes has already just left. You're lucky you missed that. He went prancing around in here, pointing at stuff and flicking it out of his and just scampered. Oh, he's finished investigating already, you mean? Yeah, he didn't stop to say nothing to no one. Not even me. Gina, would you mind if we investigated too? Listen, Otto. You're a lawyer, right? Yes? Why? Well, you're not thinking of trying to help that Reaper bloke, are you? Oh! Poor Gina. She's never going to forget, is she? That trial will haunt her forever. Gina, if you don't mind me saying, if Lord Van Zieks really is responsible for this crime, he will be duly and fairly judged in court. I suppose you're right, yeah. Go on then, Otto. Get investigating. I want to know the truth about what really happened here. Thank you, Gina. Alright, is there anything to glean? Oh, there is. Gina, what was Inspector Gregson doing here in the first place? That's what I want to know. It's what? Half a year since I got out of the clink. That's when I decided to give up me diving and become a detective instead. Oh yes, Mr. Sholmes twisted the inspector's arm to agree to take you on as an apprentice, didn't he? Something like that, I think. Anyway, the point is, I didn't really know much about the boss till then. But it turns out, he's a bit of a legend at the yard. Goodness, really? They say he managed to solve some really tricky case. Just like that. He did? Yep. And ever since then, he started going out on all sorts of investigations, but always on his own. No one else in the yard even knows what half the cases he's working on are, apparently. That's not how it's supposed to work, is it? So what was the legendary inspector doing in a dingy little room like this? I know he had a lot of respect for the Reaper and all. And look where that landed him. Respect for the Reaper? In what way? I heard him say as much. I taken my hat off to the fella. Where's words? Not how the general public feels, is it? Most people are terrified of the Reaper. Yeah, the boss said that's exactly why he respected the bloke. I didn't realize Gregson held the Reaper in quite such high regard. He said something else to me and all. I didn't need to worry about the Reaper, because he only goes after people what are bad. It did kind of set my mind at ease when he said that. Right. What is this place then? Does anyone live here? Apparently, it's been written by some cove called Hugh Boone. Hugh Boone. It's a sort of here today, gone tomorrow name like that, isn't it? Yeah, he's what we call an unidentified person. We haven't been able to get in touch with him. I see. Well, judging from appearances, I'd have to say this place hasn't been lived in for a long time, if ever. Right? All lads from the yard piled down to get stuck into the investigation. But there's so little here, no one knew what to do with themselves. I do wonder. Yes, Mr. Sato? Well, could it be that this Hugh Boone is in fact Inspector Gregson himself? What? How could that be? Well, if he was investigating on his own, it's quite possible that this was in fact some kind of secret office of his. I'd never even considered that. Nice work, Susie. We're actually following a line of inquiry like that ourselves. You are? If you look around the room, you'll see there's a few things that hint at it. We should really investigate this place in detail. Alright, well first I want top of the incident before you actually investigate the room. I see that's where the poor inspector was found, over there. Yeah, that's right. They said it was a single bullet what did him in. Apparently the bullet went right through him and struck that candle tree on the wall. Oh yes, it's blown one of the candles apart completely. And the gun used is there on the floor. It's the Reaper, isn't it? No denying that. What? Really? How do you know that? Take it easy. I don't know what to do with myself when you stare at me with them big wide eyes. I'm only saying what I heard. I don't know much about guns myself. But there's some bigwig lawman or whatever who said so. Why don't you ask him? A bigwig lawman, is it? Anyway, Fresno Street runs along under that window there. There were some street sellers just outside who heard the gunshot. Oh, but I don't recall seeing anybody outside. Yeah, they all been taken down the yard for questioning, that's why. We're talking about the yard's legendary spectre here, after all. I'll be getting a grilling. Do you think we might be able to speak with those street sellers ourselves? I doubt it. The lads of the yard will just want to know what you're stooping for, and you'll be up for grilling and all. So we can't interview the witnesses then. Shame. Alright, well, I guess for now we'll go ahead and examine the everything going on here. Let's focus on over here. Excuse me. If you're looking down on us from the great beyond, Inspector, don't worry, we'll look after things at the yard. I've interrupted some deep thoughts there. Alright, well, taking care of that. Somebody's very haphazardly nailed those boards with the broken glass, haven't they? You couldn't even really call it a window anymore. Well, if you remember the window in Mr. Natsume's room, that was totally blocked up with bricks. This one does at least still let in some light, so you could say nothing more about it. I'm starting to feel even more sorry for Mr. Natsume now. The top of one of the candles in this candle holder has been completely blown off. Yes, there's a wax spot on the wall behind. Look. I suppose if a bullet had hit it, it does seem likely that the bullet hit the candle, having first passed through the inspector's body. Ugh, now that wax on the wall looks like blood to me. Candelabrum has been entered into the court record. A candelabrum? From the wall of the room on Fresno Street where the inspector was found dead. The top of one of the candles appears to have been blown off. Oh, what's this? It would appear to be a little model policeman. It's rather charming, isn't it? In a way. seeing it is on the floor here, do you think it belonged to Inspector Gregson? It's a little hard to imagine Lord Van Zieks playing with something like this. It's only about 8 centimeters tall. It could have fallen out of someone's pocket, I suppose. I think we should record as evidence, just in case. Yes, I agree. It is rather delightful after all, in a way. Okay, policeman figure has been entered to the court record. A small and rather endearing model of a British policeman found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Alright, can we examine that at all? Let's see. The helmet of this charming policeman appears to be a little worse for wear. I'm not convinced about the charming part, but yes, you're right. The head part looks like it's been fairly heavily manhandled. Almost as if somebody has enjoyed twisting it around and around for fun. Shall we try twisting it around and around too? For fun? Ah! What's that? It appears to be some sort of key. But it's tiny though. It couldn't be a key for a door. Not that size. So what is it for, I wonder? Alright, so giving it a twist causes a key-like shaft to pop out from the base. This looks like some sort of key. Yes, it does. A very tiny and simple key. What's a little key doing inside a figurine of a policeman in the first place? And what's it for? This is presumably the murder weapon then. Oh my. It is real, I suppose. I think so. Guns are so rare in Japan. I really know very little about them. There is one way to know for sure, Mr. Naruto. Fire a shot! No. If I did that, I'd be looking for a skilled lawyer to represent me in court. Slightly safer than just ask someone who might know, I think. Killer's revolver has been entered into the court record. The murder weapon that was found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Probably best to avoid handling it. So I suppose this is where the victim... That's right. The rope is laid around the body to show exactly how it was found. Poor Inspector Gregson himself has already been taken away. And would probably be under Dr. Sai's scalpel by now, if not for what happened last week. From the shape of the rope, it would appear that the inspector was curled up in a ball. Are you feeling alright, Mr. Naruto? You look like you've just seen a ghost. I know it's just a rope, but, well, it conjures up quite a terrifying image, that's all. Especially with that blood stain next to it. Oh, I do understand. In some ways, what we picture in our minds can be even worse than reality. Suzato-san is so strong, though. She's taken this far better than I am. Ever since we came here, I can't take my eyes off this thing. Oh, funnily enough, neither can I. It's a hairpiece, isn't it? It is! It is! A bright red hairpiece! And I suppose the fact that it's right there next to where the body was found means we have to accept that Inspector Gregson wore wigs, does it? And it's such a flame-colored red, too. Yes, that's a color we've come across very recently elsewhere, isn't it? Exactly! This is a vital clue, I'm sure of it! Red hairpiece has been entered into the court record. A flame red wig found at the scene of the crime on Fresno Street. Presumably, it belonged to Inspector Gregson. I don't believe that at all. Excuse me. Sorry, sir. Can't see a thing, sir. Too many tears, sir. Okay, I thought it was because you still don't have eyes, but fair enough. Right. Perhaps I better leave you to your work then. Oh, it's a photograph stand. I suppose it must be a picture of one of Inspector Grace's family members. Ah! What's the matter? Your eyes look like they're about to pop out of your head. They are! Look! Mr. Naruto, quickly! Why do I feel like this woman is familiar somehow? Ryunosuke, are you kidding me? Of course she's familiar! We met her only this morning! Ah! It's Mrs. Vigil! This makes no sense. Why would there be a picture of Mrs. Vigil in here? To be frank, I don't think I've ever been more stumped. I'm sorry to say, I have no idea either. Framed photograph has been entered into the court record. Photographic print of a smiling Mrs. Vigil in her younger years. It was found on a desk at the scene of the crime. This looks like some sort of notice board or something. And it's absolutely covered in scraps of paper. Ah! Mr. Nahodo, look! This, you mean? It's an autopsy report, isn't it? And these are case notes here, and details of prison inmates! Yes, in fact, they're all the sort of documents that only a detective could normally acquire. What on earth went on in this room? Some old newspaper cuttings. Ah! And this one here! Oh yes, the advertisement you mean? To the Red-Headed League. But why? What's that doing here? Whoever occupied this room was clearly interested in it for some reason. An empty fireplace makes a room feel even colder than it would be otherwise, doesn't it? It's thick with dust, look. I think it would be fair to say it hasn't been used in a very long time. In other words, whoever lived in this room must have been extremely hardy in cold weather. Or nobody lived here at all and merely visited when the occasion arose. I wouldn't like to say which is more likely. No, that's right. It's one or the other. Okay, I think we have done all that we can for now. So I think for the time being, we're going to go somewhere else. I'm going to try Lord Chief Justice's office. May seem weird, but I feel it's going to be right. You've made good time. I took an express train back to London. I can hear Lord Strongheart. Can you? Yes, it sounds as though he's talking to someone. What? Is everything in place? I had a private compartment on the train so I could check all the paperwork. It's... Kazuma-sama! Ah, your timing is impeccable! It is? No doubt you have heard the sickening news about the Reaper's latest devilry. Yes. I'm sure you don't believe it, of course, though, Lord Strongheart. That Lord Van Zieks could have done such a thing to Inspector Gregson? I believe only in the facts. And the facts, in this case, point to one thing. The unavoidable accusal Lord Van Zieks for this crime. We must bring charges against the Reaper for taking the life of our legendary detective. Oh no, surely not! It's a truly regrettable situation. Tomorrow, the Forensic Science Symposium finally begins. At the very least, though, we can show the world our justice system's swift and equitable processes. So does that mean the trial's tomorrow? Precisely. In fact, this is a fine opportunity for introductions. Kazuma. Ah, but of course, you're already acquainted, aren't you? Mr. Asuga here will be present at tomorrow's proceedings. Oh, no way. Is he the prosecution? Oh, that's so f***ed. Why do you make me do this? Leading the prosecution. Why? Wait! What? Kazuma? As I'm sure you're aware, he's a very capable practitioner of law. Kazuma-sama, a prosecutor? The f***? I'm sure you can imagine that tomorrow's trial will be closely followed all over London. In fact, no, people all over the Empire will be watching closely to see how it unfolds. There's no salvation for anyone in a trial prosecuted by the Reaper of the Bailey. And now, the Reaper himself must stand in the dock. Quite so. The public want answers about the Reaper. Answers about how and why those who escaped conviction subsequently died mysterious deaths. But Lord Van Zieks firmly denies any involvement in such matters. And there have been thorough investigations that have proven him to be innocent. That's certainly true. Or it has been, at least, until now. Ah! No, tomorrow's trial will mark the start of a new chapter in our country's great judicial history. What is going on? So, Cosmo will be prosecuting tomorrow? That's right. But he's a defense lawyer, Lord Strongheart. Accomplished young law practitioners cannot pick and choose their roles. And imagine what it will mean for the prosecution to know the strategies commonly employed by the defense. A devastating combination, wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. I've no doubt at all that Cosmo will be razor sharp as a prosecutor. But why Kazuma-sama? There are surely many other highly skilled prosecutors in Great Britain. It was a personal request. I asked to be assigned to the trial. Why? You asked for this? But why? It'll all become clear tomorrow. I'm guessing you intend to send for the defense, don't you? Although, the Reaper appears to be turning down all offers of representation. I'm surprised such a personal request would have been upheld. It seems unprecedented, quite exceptional in fact. You are quite right, Miss Mikotoba. Tomorrow's trial will be unprecedented and exceptional in every way. After all, the accused is one of Britain's greatest prosecutors, the pride of the Empire. It would be unwise to give the public a reason to perceive it as the judiciary closing ranks. So that's why you're happy to let a foreigner handle the prosecution? Ryunosuke, let's see how your skills have been honed after practicing law in this land for so many months. Kazuma, I don't understand why you're being so hostile to me now. This isn't going to end well, my friend. Yeah, we're gonna kick your ass, that's what we're gonna do. Oh yes, we noticed that there was a gun at the scene of Inspector Gregson's death. Do you know if it belongs to Lord Van Zieks? That would be a question for the lead detective investigating the scene. Well, the thing is, she wasn't sure, so she told me I should ask somebody higher up who might know. That's right, Mr. Naruto. Be direct. It's certainly a model that's issued to all personnel involved in law enforcement, yes. Which includes prosecutors, as I'm sure you can imagine. Why would they have a gun? There is no aspect of their work that requires a gun. In that case, it could actually have belonged to the victim. No, Gregson had his gun on his person. What about Lord Van Zieks? He claims it's currently not in his possession. What? According to his story, He lost it. In short, it's more than a little suspicious. But just because the gun in question is the same type as the defendant's is no proof that it's actually his. No, of course not. Nevertheless, the situation is grave for Lord Van Zieks. Alright, let me think. What else could we do? Alright, why don't we actually talk to Kazuma himself? I don't want to talk to Lord Van Zieks right now. Now, Lord Van Zieks, so strong heart. I'm sorry for all the worry I've caused you, but it'll be alright now. Has your memory completely returned? Yes, completely. I remember everything. Including what I was coming here to do. Right. Kazuma-sama, I can't tell you how happy I am to see you alive and well like this. But how did you come to be here in London when you were suffering from amnesia? It was the voice. This past year, I've been hearing it in my head constantly, saying the same thing over and over. Go to London. That's where your destiny awaits. It was that voice that guided me here to London. I'm so sorry for what's happened. Anyway, my memory might have returned to me. But there's something that won't return the way it was before. Huh? What do you mean? I'm a prosecutor now, so I'm sure our paths will cross again very soon. It doesn't look like we're going to glean much more here. Well, thank you very much, Lord Strongheart. Remember, tomorrow's trial will go down in our empire's history. There's much you could learn from the public gallery. Sorry to have taken up much of your time. We'll see ourselves out.
Hold it!
Before you go, Ryunosuke. Oh, what is it, Kazuma? I just wanted to thank you. Kazuma-sama, what? You took my determination to heart and brought it with you over the ocean in my stead. And you carried out my role to perfection. You always were intent on studying British law in order to change our own justice system. It was your dream, and Mr. Naruhodo didn't want that to die with you. Yes, but I had another purpose for coming here. Oh? I actually have a favor to ask. Which is? This trial I'll be prosecuting tomorrow. I'd like you to be there to see how it ends. Right in front of me, as the defense counsel. Why? What's this all about? I know you have what it takes. But Lord Van Zieks would never put his fate in my hands. On the contrary, he recognizes your talent. He does? It's not easy to see behind the facade sometimes. Here, have a look at this. Oh, he's smiling. That's Lord Van Zieks and Inspector Gregson. In a photograph that must have been taken some time ago by the look of it. I'd say, oh, at least 10 years ago. And who's the third person? It was displayed very prominently in the detective's office. In Gregson's office, you mean? Yes. What I'm trying to say is, if you really think you can trust the Reaper, you might find that some straight-talking makes him take a different view. Take it. Gregson's photograph has been entered into the court record. An old photographic print displayed rather prominently in Inspector Gregson's office, as if it was a treasured memory. I don't understand. Why are you giving me this? Just hurry, Ryunosuke. Visiting hours of the prison are almost over. What are you doing, Kazuma? Okay, well, I'm just gonna go back to prison, I guess. Lord Van Zieks is still reading that letter. We've been gone quite some time, though. Either he's an incredibly slow reader, or it's an incredibly long letter. I might even be able to read English faster than he can. I was intending to ignore you entirely. But I can't turn a deaf ear to such an insulting Nipponese. God bless you! God, I love you, but why do you have to be so racist? Oh, sorry, I didn't think you'd hear that. I had the case notes brought to me in secret. I was reading them to pass the time. Yes, we heard that your trial is set for tomorrow. Which is none of your business. So, have you found a lawyer? How many times have I read the same thing? This is nothing to do with you. In other words, no. We were just talking to Lord Strongheart, and the prosecutor for your trial has been decided. I'd expect nothing less, though I have no idea who it is. It's going to be Kazuma Asugi. Asugi! That made the color drain from his face. Ha! Well then. It seems I'm going to have to engage in conversation with you again after all. Listen, I love talking to you all the time, because you're the best character in this game, by far. Asugi! 10 years ago, my older brother, who was the director of prosecutions at the time, was murdered. And the killer, as you know, was a visiting student from the Far East. Not a single day goes by when I don't curse the name Asugi. Shinshin Aoshigi was Kazuma's father. I don't know why I said it differently that time. So what cruel twist of fate is this now, 10 years later? The man's son is to crucify me in some kangaroo court? I still don't understand why Lord Strongheart apprenticed Kazuma to you. It's what he does. No doubt he knew the young man's true identity from the outset. But what could he have been hoping to achieve? And let's not forget that it was only 8 days ago that Kazuma recovered from his amnesia. Why would Lord Strongheart assign this trial to somebody like that? Asugi. That name is the very epitome of my bane. The bane that is you Nipponese. Right. Your hatred of all Japanese. Let's talk about your Nipponese bane, my dude. I'd only just been appointed as a prosecutor when it happened 10 years ago. My brother Clint, the director of prosecutions, was hunting down a mass murderer. The so-called professor. Assigned to the investigation as his partner was a certain visiting student dispatched from Scotland Yard. And that was Genshin Asugi? Exactly. I developed a deep respect for the man. He seemed noble-minded and chivalrous in the extreme to me. But none of us saw the true nature of the man. So I lost everything when it happened. My esteemed brother, the people I believed in, and any semblance of right prevailing over wrong. Oh, how awful. To avenge my brother, I prosecuted in Asagi's trial. It wouldn't ordinarily have been allowed, but I beleagued the ascribed prosecutor until he consented. What do you mean by the ascribed prosecutor? The man in charge of the professor case inquiry, Lord Mael Strongheart. Oh! Wait, what? Lord Strongheart? He was a highly accomplished prosecutor, but he agreed to relinquish the trial to me and act as my advisor instead. Since that time, he's the one person to whom I felt indebted. I'm sure he must have seen your zeal for the case and recognized your potential as a prosecutor. Anyway, time passed, but then earlier this year, who should arrive in London but you? And of all things, as a lawyer. I felt your animosity the first time I ever faced you in the courtroom. You are obviously deep loathing of us Japanese. I kept telling myself it was illogical. But for so many years, that hatred had festered inside me. I could no longer control it. And I can understand why, now I know the history. But in the same way that I've long felt the Nipponese to be the bane of my life, to Kazuma Asagi, I am the bane of his, the Reaper who sent his father to the gallows. He's looking for revenge, and he intends to take it in court tomorrow. So, putting that aside for 2 seconds, what about Inspector Gregson? Gregson's transfer to the Paris Police Prefecture had finally been arranged for the coming month. But he'll never make it to France now. It's a tragedy. Oh, yes, come to think of it, he did mention something about that, didn't he? I wonder, does it happen often? Being transferred internationally, I mean. It's the first time I've ever encountered it. Oh? The Paris police welcoming an English detective is almost inconceivable. I can't imagine what kind of magic Gregson must have worked to put that arrangement in place. It sounds like that mystery has even the Reaper perplexed. I'm afraid to say that we were very ignorant about Inspector Gregson's standing. We hear that he was considered something of a legend at Scotland Yard. Again, it was 10 years ago that he first made a name for himself, by uncovering a decisive piece of evidence that exposed the professor's identity. If it wasn't for Gregson's singular approach to the case, the discovery would never have been made. What sort of approach? After my brother's life was taken, the inspector pushed for a full autopsy. Oh my! 10 years ago? Why is that so surprising? Autopsy was considered a desecration of the body at the time, and rarely performed. And my brother was of course unnoble. That made the idea of it even more unthinkable. But something Gregson had dug up in his investigations made him determined it was necessary. His powerful conviction somehow influenced the House of Lords, and as a result, I could avenge my brother's death. So, you must have had a great confidence in the inspector's abilities then. And it's even more inconceivable that you would have taken his life. I don't have confidence in anyone. Oh! And I'm sure Gregson felt the same way. I've no doubt he thought of me only as the ominous Reaper, just like the rest of London. What really went on between Lord Van Zieks and Gregson, I wonder? What was the true nature of the relationship? Let's talk about that gun. About the gun used to shoot the inspector that was found at the scene. Yes. That's not mine. Really? Because common opinion seems to be that it is. What do you expect me to say to that? Lord Strongheart informs us that you claim to have misplaced your firearm. As embarrassing as that is, I'm afraid it's true. When did you lose it then? That... I don't know. Oh! I was issued with the revolver when I first became a prosecutor 10 years ago. I must have stowed it somewhere, I suppose. Or left it somewhere, perhaps? You have something in common with Lord Van Zieks after all, Mr. Naruhodo. A talent for misplacing things. No! This has nothing to do with me! Don't drag me into it! Don't make the mistake of associating me with this Nipponese. Or both Nipponese. Oh dear, the rift is very wide, isn't it? So it's not decisive evidence, clearly. But it doesn't look good, that's for sure. Alright, well, with that in mind, I'm gonna present something to you that I think is gonna kind of make you change your attitude a bit. First, okay, there's no back to check. Lord Van Zieks, we came by this old photograph. Where did you get that? It was taken when I became a qualified prosecutor. It's almost unbelievable. I assumed it was long lost. Is the man on the left there? Yes, that's my brother, Clint. The details of Gregson's photograph have been updated in the court record. It had to be, really. Apparently, this picture was prominently displayed in Gregson's office. He had a deep respect for you, you know. Were you aware of that? Respect? That's nonsense! No, we've heard someone attest to it very clearly. Inspector Gina Lestrade, no less. Well, maybe once, yes. There was a time things were like that. We were brothers in arms, jovially discussing the future of justice and other such lofty subject matter. That was a nice glimpse of the past. I thank you. I feel as though I got a nice glimpse of the past then too. There was a glimmer of light in his eyes, a brief twinkle, an insight into the true nature of this man known to all as the Stone-Cold Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, that's the first time he's ever used my actual name. I've lost all confidence in my country's justice system. I don't trust the police, the judiciary, or lawyers. But there's still one thing I'm willing to believe in. What's that? That which you see in the eyes of another across the courtroom. A simple determination to know the truth. Lord Van Zieks. From the very first time we clashed in the Bailey almost a year ago now, I couldn't deny it, even though I dearly wished I could. Here is a loathsome Nipponese, who has absolute integrity as a lawyer. There are only two other men I've known with that same look in their eyes. My brother, Clint, and Genshin Asugi. The man he idolized and the man who betrayed his trust in the most hideous way. When you showed me that photograph just now, it reminded me. You mean this photograph? Back then, I was able to laugh. I was free of the shackles of mistrust that plague me now. I look to the future with hope. Since then, I protected myself against betrayal by refusing to trust anyone. But at times, the mire into which I've sunk makes it almost impossible to breathe. I'm so sorry. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I want you to believe in that look in your eyes. I need to believe in it. In tomorrow's trial, will you advocate for me
Yes.
Of course I will. It would be an honor. I'm so pleased, Mr. Naruhodo. Then my life is in your hands. For Lord Van Zieks, that must have been an incredibly hard thing to ask. Which is why I simply cannot let the man down. Tomorrow, in the Old Bailey, against my old friend, Kazuma.
Oh, it is officially on.